Yeah, this is Bang Bang Ray Hill. Please press the like button and subscribe. I've just come back from Fulham. I was with a couple of my pals over Fulham Road there, Fulham Bridge Road, and we was talking about my old mucker Tony Lawrence. Tony Lawrence is a very, very dangerous man, as I told you. He got shot about 3 or 4 times by the Sullivans, and he's just dangerous, mate. He was a very, very dangerous man. He died of a heart attack. But he was a very powerful and dangerous man. A lot of people know him. He used to work with Richardson's as one of their henchmen, and he was very, very dangerous man. But he was talking about him, and me and him got very, very close. And I wouldn't do things that time he was doing. I didn't want to get involved in it at the time. But he asked me to do something for him, and I got a few bob for it, and it was quite nasty, really. Because this woman's been in touch with him, and I was with a couple of guys, a couple of pals of mine as well. This one had been in touch with Tony, and they lived by this part of Wandsworth Bridge there, and went round to see her. And what it was, her daughter, she's involved with these people that have got her on heroin, yeah? And she's really bad on it, and she can't get off of it. She's such a bad way. She keeps borrowing money off the mother, and borrowing money off her dad. She's screaming and shouting and going mad when she can't get it, yeah. And she's really in a bad way. And these people live near, just over the other side of Wandsworth Bridge, and on an estate out there, yeah. And Tony asked me to do him a favour, which I did. So I got hold of the daughter, and I mean, she was screaming. She was in a right bad way. I put her in a basement flat, yeah. Put her in a basement flat and kept feeding her food as much as possible. Never let her out, mate. She could scream as much as she liked. There's no way I'll let her out. I told her mum, look, I'm going to have her for a couple of weeks, you know, and she ain't going to come out. She ain't going to come out of the house. You know, I've got to do something about it. I mean, heroin, is one of the worst drugs you can possibly be on. You know what I mean? And she was screaming and shouting and this, that, and the other. And one of my mates, Bird, she works in a chemist shop, a big chemist, like big chemist Boots, and she was taking bits and pieces out to give this girl to sort of get off her addiction. And these two guys that was involved with it, and mate, I had murders with them. You know what I mean? I mean, I took them away in a van, yeah, these two, mate, and we took them down to the Thames, and we found this big warehouse that Tony had near the Thames, and drove them in there in the van, took them out of the van, and put them on 2 chairs, tied their face up with these big black handkerchief things, yeah, around their eyes, and sat them on chairs with scaffold boards, yeah, with scaffold boards, and underneath the scaffold boards was water about 4 or 5 inches deep from the Thames, yeah, and it overflows. Now, do you remember the things that used to keep boats in years ago? It's one of them things, yeah, and it overflows as the tide comes up, so the water gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and we put them on this thing, and when the tide come up, the scaffold boards would lift up, and the chairs would lift up, and they go back down again, but the water was freezing cold, and certain times the water comes over the scaffold boards and comes up to their waist or their chest, right? And these people are tied up behind the chairs, mate. Now listen, we ain't letting these people go. We've had them in there for ages, yeah, and we're doing all sorts of things to these guys. We're doing all sorts of things. You can imagine what you're doing to these guys that are on these scaffold boards, yeah, tied up. But there's nothing worse than being in somewhere like that with water around, hearing water. You can't see, you've got a clue what's going on, and you're being tortured, yeah. And you're being tortured. Listen, we tortured them people so badly, you wouldn't believe it. Like you talk about the cartel. Listen, this is similar to the cartel. We didn't muck about with these people, mate. They're not entitled to even be alive. You know, we let them live, yeah. We let them live. We didn't cut them with blades and things like that, mate. We just tortured them people with the same sort of stuff that they give her, yeah. The same stuff they give her, we give them. But we kept tying them up and put them on these boards. Mate, let me tell you something. in the end of the day, they wish they was dead. They wish they was dead. They would never ever do that to anybody again. We kept him on his balls for as long as possible on his chairs, yeah? The water comes in, comes up to the chest. It's up to the chest, what, 4, 5, 6 hours? And then it goes down. You can imagine what's happening, can't you? You can imagine what's happening with their body. The water goes up. You get all sorts of things in there. You get all sorts of things that want to nibble away at you and bite you and things like that. The water goes back down. You get all bites all over your legs with these things have been nibbling at your feet because we took their socks off and their shoes off you and just left them like that. Left their trousers on, left the t-shirts on or whatever they had on. Just left them on there and let the water come up and go down. Listen, mate, they got bit to pieces by these bits and pieces. Whatever done it to them. Well, I'm telling you, right? And I kept giving them the heroin. I was giving to this girl to make them realise. And they were screaming and shouting. We left them. We just left them. We got give them all the heroin as much as they fucking possibly take, and left them. Yeah, couple of days and give them nothing. They're screaming. They're shouting. They got blindfolds on, mate. They can't do a thing, nothing. They're just sitting there. And their tires go up and down, and they got ripped to pieces. You have to cut them, mate. These animals, these insects, and all these things that was in the Thames, bit them to pieces, mate. Bit them to pieces on heroin as well, right? And they're addicted now. They're addicted. This is exactly what they've done to the girl, yeah. I got hold of Tony. I mean, Tony might not. I shouldn't think Tony did even solve the family what we did, but it had to be done. You know, there's no point in chopping their hands off, chopping their arms off, all that shit. We had to let these people be tortured, yeah. And be tortured by water, by things in the water, yeah? Anyway, and eventually we untied them, put them in the back of the van and dropped them back round where they come from. Listen, mate, let me tell you something. And the girl, we kept her in the flat for about 3 weeks, kept giving her the stuff from this girl from the Boots, the chemist shop, and she got off the addiction, yeah? But this is a favour for Tony, because I love Tony so much, yeah? This is a favour for Tony. They give us some money. We had some money to pay the people that was with me. Didn't get a lot of money, mate. 10 grand, something like that, 10, 12 grand. We didn't get a lot of money. But in the end of the day, it was worth it to us for what these guys done. These guys should never do it again, believe me. And people go to yourself, well, what can that do, water? Let me tell you something. You tie someone up, right, in a chair, put planks there, scaffold planks, they keep going up and down. They couldn't sink. They put these planks, we done it properly, keep going up and down, then they get to a certain level and the water comes up to their chest. And they're there for what, 5, 6 hours, the water that high. You believe me, let me tell you something. There's things in that Thames, mate, that will just nibble away at your feet, nibble away at your knees, nibble away at your groin, even your groin part, mate, yeah? And you can't do nothing about it. You're tied up, you're screaming. You can't see nothing, you're blind. But we didn't do them. They're in the mouth. They're in a place, mate, they would never ever. They could scream as much as they like. They'd never get heard. They would never get heard. I'm telling you, this place is derelict. This place is derelict, mate. Not telling you where it was, but it's derelict, yeah? And they would never ever do that again to kids. You know what I mean? I'm telling you that, mate. I'm telling you, people would give people that brown stuff and do that, yeah? Listen, mate, you're lucky that I got put away for a long, long time, yeah? You know what I mean? Because what they ever done to the little girl, I done to them. But 10 times worse. You can imagine, mate. They was finished.